Nation of Nigeria, millions of Christians are persecuted by Islamic terror groups. The Nigerian government is doing very little to stop the attacks. Well, now religious freedom advocates, including one member of the U.S. Congress, are taking action. CBN's Kelly Wright has this look at the crisis.
On this very day, 210 persons were slaughtered in one night, in less than 24 hours.
The video from the Father's Day massacre includes graphic images of people being burned alive, families attacked, and homes destroyed in Yelawata, Nigeria.
That very day, it was raining, so planning herdsmen, they invaded the community and claimed so many lives.
Around 12 midnight, we started having calls from Yelawata that the Fulanis have come and they are killing, burning.
Friday night, I was sleeping in my house. See my house there. I come here, they shoot gun. Later, they come, they break this house. Where my brother, my brother is sleeping here with his children. Thereby, they come, they kill people. They were breaking the house. Say, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar. Allah Akbar.
These first-hand accounts gathered by Truth Nigeria journalists describe the ongoing atrocities in a terror campaign to eradicate Nigeria's Christians. Judge Saul, filmmaker and missionary, the organizer of Equipping the Persecuted, highlighted this documentary as a way to sound the alarm.
We need to fight this thing threefold. One, America as a government needs to get involved with a very little. I'm talking very little of our resources. If we just did the very little bit of push an aggressive foreign policy, throw some sanctions, whatever it takes, I think we can put a significant dent in this and put a stop to this.
U.S. Representative Chris Smith of New Jersey, who has traveled to many dangerous areas in Nigeria, has introduced a resolution in Congress to help stop attacks fueled by religious hatred.
There has been an exponential increase in attacks on Christians and some Muslims, but Christians in particular. Protestants, evangelicals, Catholics, they're firebombing their churches. The Fulani are killing them with absolute impunity. We've called on the government in Abuja and the president several times to do what governments do, law enforcement. Use the military if you have to, but stop this genocide and do it now.
The resolution points to Nigeria's government's apparent open border policy that allows almost free access to the country. Fulani militants and ISIS-linked extremist groups from neighboring countries take advantage of this policy to carry out mass murder, rape, and kidnappings.
We're also calling on President Trump to reissue, which he did in his first term, the designation of country of particular concern. And that then gives the president wide latitude to impose sanctions. It's an excellent bill when it's used properly. It gets the attention of all the policymakers, in this case in Abuja. It says, we're not kidding.
During a White House press briefing, I asked Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt about the crisis in Nigeria. And do you know if there's any action that the president will take?
I'm not tracking a call between the president and the head of Nigeria. I know the president wholeheartedly condemns the persecution of Christians or, frankly, of people of any faith all over the world, but I don't have any updates for you in terms of sanctions in this part of the world.
Looking beyond any government response, Judge Saul is calling on the church and Christians in America to stand with the persecuted in Nigeria.
They need to pray. They need to be a voice for the voiceless. They need to be a voice for our persecuted brothers and sisters.
Kelly Wright, CBN News.
Well, whatever pressure we can put on the Nigerian government, we need to put it on the Nigerian government. They're the one responsible for the safety of their own citizens, and to let these armed groups have sort of free reign in the northern part of Nigeria makes no sense. And I don't understand that these sort of continual struggles coming out of Nigeria You need to establish law and order in your own country. You can't have your women, your girls kidnapped. You can't have people murdered in the streets. You can't have these churches burned to the ground. All of that is happening, and it's happening on their watch. So whatever we can do as United States citizens to petition our government and to support this bill in Congress, and then move on the administration and the State Department to do the very necessary work of saying, look, it's time for you to stand up for your own people. It's time for you to protect Nigerians. So let's do our part, and hopefully the government there will respond and do their part.
Honestly, the way people are being unalived in Nigeria is alarming, honestly speaking. But the truth there is that, yes, not only Christians, Muslims also are being unalived. But a good number of Christians are the victims. Oh yes, out of 100, we say 70 are Christians, while 30 are Muslims. But then you ask yourself, all these killings, is there no solution? Does it mean that the Nigerian security are not able to stop all this? On daily basis, we hear of banditry, we hear of terrorism, we hear unknown gunmen, we hear, all sort of things. To some point that even the security agencies are even causing their own. You will hear accidental discharge from a policeman, or this one, or this one. That is story, and people are going on daily basis. Is it a crime to be born in Nigeria? Is it a crime, I ask? That life is not even assured. Life is not like you go out, you don't even know what will happen. Even if you are healthy, it's either you are caught up by bandits or police bullet or whatever will touch you. In fact, all sorts of death we are experiencing in Nigeria. I ask, all these things, when will they stop? When will they stop? Anyway, I'm going to show you more video of this. Then after watching it, do well to drop your comment in the comment section what to think. But honestly, the way this thing is going in Nigeria, the way it is going, I fear. Anyway, watch it, then you do well to drop your comment in the comment section what to think, please.
Christians were killed over the weekend in an attack targeting the home village of a prominent bishop. The strike by heavily armed jihadists also kidnapped a priest and several religious sisters. The attack targeted the home village of Bishop Wilfred Anagbi. In March, he testified before Congress about the persecution of Christians in Nigeria, adding that the Nigerian government does little to protect the faithful.
The world's attention is turned to conflict shaking the foundation of our global order. Another atrocity has unfolded almost unnoticed before our eyes. In the early hours of Saturday, more than 200 people were brutally massacred in Yelewata, Nigeria, sheltered in a local Catholic mission, a region already ravaged by religious violence. This is the single worst atrocity in recent times, part of an orchestrated militant campaign to forcibly uproot Christian communities from their ancestral land. Entire families were slaughtered. Militant attacked the displaced people who had already fled violence, attempting to burn them alive. Over 6,500 people have been forced to flee again, many now without shelter or hope. Freedom of religion is paid with blood across the world, and in Nigeria, Christians are the most persecuted group. Since 2009, over 52,000 Christians have been killed, 18,000 churches and 2,000 Christian schools destroyed. I think it's about time we do something for Christians who are being persecuted all over around the world.
Christians. This one now, or this one are Yoruba land. Let's rise up, Nigerian Christians. Let's rise up and shut Nigeria down. This king of Christians is getting out of hand. Christians have been slaughtered, and the Nigerian Nigerian Christians never rise up to say no to this. They are keeping silent. Our politicians have fed us. They have fed us. Our politicians have fed us. Most of them are responsible for this funny husband of Boko Haram that are slaughtering Christians in Nigeria, for the Islamization of Nigeria. Our politicians have fed us. Let us rise up, join hands together, shut Nigeria down. Peaceful protest, no market, no school, shut everywhere down. Now people they die like this, they are not foul. The other time, there was one Pentecostal church. Friend husband, Boko Haram enter, slaughter people. Even the general overseer cannot stand up to condemn the evil. Everybody are keeping silent. Why are we keeping silent? Let us rise up to say no to this killing. Let us rise up to say no to this killing. Heavy protest, shut everywhere down. No school, no market, everywhere shut down. All the Christians will rise up, say no to this. If we do this, you will see that this thing will be a very great pledge to our evil, wicked, vampire politicians that are sponsoring this evil. I assure you that President Donald Trump will help us if we can stand up to say no to this. Because we are keeping silent. They are killing Christians in Nigeria. They are killing Christians in Nigeria, yes. But we Christians in Nigeria, let's rise up. Let's rise up. Do you know the problem now? Before I land up, do you know the problem? The problem is that some of our top men of God, ministers of God, they are working together with those blood-sucking demon politicians, vampires. They are working with them. It will be very difficult for them to believe, for them to accept this protest. The problem is that some of our WTO, they will not agree this. Because some of them, most of them, they are working with those politicians. Because this protest, even our politicians, they will not agree this protest. But if our WTOs, ministers of God, can gather themselves together, our politicians, they will not have any option to keep quiet. Rise up! It's too much! It's too much every month, mass burial, slaughtering Christians, and we have that the GO, pastors, Reverend, Bishop, everybody are keeping silent, and they're slaughtering Christians in Nigeria. We have great ministers of God in Nigeria. Why are we keeping silent? I know said that Jesus said they will persecute us, yes, but we need to rise up to do what we're supposed to do. We need to rise up because our politicians, they are covering all those things. They don't want the world to know that the killing of Christians is going on in Nigeria. Go to Benue State, go to Kaduna, go to Plateau, go many places in Nigeria. You will see how they are slaughtering Christians. They will come in the Christian community village. They will slaughter people there. They will enter inside community, slaughter people there. After they slaughter people in that community, I'm telling you what is happening. This one happened like 2 weeks ago. 27 people were buried, and the pastor, Pentecostal pastor, and he believed this thing. In Plateau, all this thing that was seen, this one, na Christians, and then believe this one. Christians. This one na Owo, or this one na Yoruba land. Pastors will come, they will do the burial, pray, they will go. Let's rise up, Nigerian Christians. Let's rise up and shut Nigeria down. This killing of Christians is getting out of hand. Let's rise up and shut and end this evil that is happening. Because our politicians, they are the one that are sponsoring this Boko Haram flying herdsmen for the Islamization of Nigeria. But let's say no to this evil. I'm using the opportunity to call the President of America, President Donald Trump, to please help Nigerian Christians. I'm calling the President of America, President Donald Trump, to preach, to help Nigerian Christians. Please, it's getting out of hand. It's getting out of hand. Christian has been killed every day by day in Nigeria. Why are we keeping silent? Why? Why? If we keep silent, these people will conquer us. They will conquer us. Their plan will fulfill. But let's rise up. Let's rise up. Let's rise up. That the GOs, pastors, the general overseer of winners, the general overseer of Christ and passive, the general overseer of Redeem, Dunamis, general overseer of Dunamis. There are many churches. God choose him, Watchman, Deeper Life. There are thousands of churches. Roman Catholic Church, Anglican Church. Let's rise up. Let's rise up, please. Join hands together to say no to this evil. Shut everywhere down in Nigeria. No market, no school, everywhere shut down. Heavy protest. This kind of Christians must stop. When we do this, you will know that we draw the attention of America. We draw the attention of the world for them to know that we are serious to stop this evil that is happening in our country. Thank you and God bless you. As I'm watching this video, make sure that you share this video. I'm still your brother.
I am Wilfred Chikbana, but the appear here as the bishop, the Catholic Bishop of Makurdi Diocese, the capital of Benue State in Nigeria. I am the shepherd of one of the 4 dioceses, Catholic dioceses in Benue. We have others, Anglican, Methodist, and Pentecostals, which sort of them. Benue State has a population of about 6.1 million people, 2 million of whom are souls under my care as the bishop of the diocese. Benue State is about 98% Christian, with very few Muslims living in towns. Nigeria and eventually my diocese and the state of Benue have become, in recent years, one of the most dangerous and insecure places for Christians. Christians and Muslims are nearly evenly divided among Nigeria's large population of over 200 million persons. Islamist extremists are fiercely contesting the possession, control, and governing law of the land, especially in the country's northern and central regions, the latter of which is where Benue is located. There are constant ethnic, political, and religious conflicts over land and allegiance. Constitutionally, we are a secular country, but our unity has been fragile. Political and religious actions and even public speech have been carefully managed to avoid accusations of religious bias and political tensions. Today, the clear influence of Islamist extremists has changed the traditional social dynamics of tribe, ethnicity, religion, and the social status in Nigeria. Because just recently, at the beginning of the Ramadan fast, 12 states in northern Nigeria have declared closed schools so that they attend to this. And you can imagine which other country in the world does that. Saudi Arabia is not doing it. Afghanistan is not doing it. Baghdad is not doing it. But then Nigeria is practicing. What kind of Islam are they practicing? 12 states. And not only Muslims are living in these places. What happened to the educational program or curriculum of the country? But this is what we are going through every day in Nigeria. A long-term Islamic agenda to homogenize the population has been implemented over several presidencies through a strategy to reduce and eventually eliminate the Christian identity of half of the population. This strategy includes both violent and non-violent actions, such as the exclusion of Christians from positions of power and adoption of such church members, the raping of women, the killing and expulsion of Christians, the destruction of churches and farmlands of Christian farmers, followed by the occupation of such lands by the Fulani herders, and also changing the names of these villages. They are taking over the places, so you clearly see an expansionist approach and Islamic, and then they are making the people now flee and leave their villages, and they conquer it. The quest to Islamize the land appears high on the agenda of some of the powerful and influential Muslims in Nigeria. There is a campaign to take land to spread Islam, and there is the the hemorrhaging of Christian farmers from the central region of Nigeria and Benue State, and Makurdi Diocese in particular, as they are forced to abandon fertile lands that used to feed the nation, which classify Benue as the food basket of the nation. Militant Fulani herdsmen are terrorists destroying society. They steal and vandalize, they kill and boast about it. They kidnap and rape, and they enjoy total impunity from the elected authorities. None of them have been arrested and brought to justice. This is supported by the corrupt system in which we operate and the abject poverty among us, which allow the criminals to easily attract more recruits and prey on more victims. Why is this happening? Is it really a religious war? Like in the past, many jihadists are motivated less by religion than by spoils of war and use their religion to impose themselves. In my diocese, the spoils consist mainly of fertile, well-tended land organized around my parishes or so. The jihadists come and adopt and kill the priests, leaving thousands without support and basic human services. And of course, when they disperse the people, the inhabitants, or the citizens, or the people of the lands, they take over. And any attempt to go back and take care of your farms, surely you get killed. The Makurdi Diocese in Benue State has been the epicenter of the invasion by these herders who are more like hired guns of cattle oligarchies, who manipulate religion to rally the herders to eliminate the Christian population and cleanse the land in the name of Islam. This objective is behind the relentless attacks against Benue's villages. When we call for help to the police and the army, they do not come. At the end of 2024, several villages were warned by the attackers of the upcoming violence, and the leaders called the police for defense ahead of time. But they did not come, and the Christian massacres, almost customary, took place, killing hundreds in Plateau and Benue, with the worst massacre claiming 47 people. The militant also burned down the 8 Catholic churches of St. Mary's Parish in the Diocese of Boko, which in Benue State, as well as the parish house, clinics, schools, and other houses. The militant Fulani herdsmen bear on defenseless villagers without consequences. They follow orders to conquer, kill, and occupy. They attack even those who have managed to escape into our IDP camps. Thereby, they have no place to run to. And it is unfortunate that the police system in Nigeria, orders have to come from above. And such that once there's a call, and they say they have never returned. And by the time they arrive, these people have left, and the people are now living in the pool of their blood. What I have recounted above is happening not only in Benue State. I believe our experience in Benue is symptomatic of what is happening elsewhere in large parts of Nigeria. The experience of the Nigerian Christians today can be summed up as that of a church under Islamist extermination. It is frightening to live there. Apart from the violent campaigns and attacks against Christian villages, there are now attempts by the Islamic Council of Nigeria and various Islamic groups to impose Sharia law on the Christian populations. Already, 12 states in the north of Nigeria are under this sectarian religious law, and attempts to extend the same to the south of Nigeria, which they have started. This month, governors in the north decided abruptly to close all schools and education institutions during the months of Ramadan, leaving millions of students without learning opportunity for 5 weeks. We live in fear because at any point it can be our turn to be killed, but to remain silent is to die twice. So, I have chosen to speak. I speak on behalf of the millions who are in the camps. In Benue State, in Makurdi Diocese alone, in my diocese, I have about 9 camps. 9. On the 5th of March, which was Ash Wednesday, we visited one of the camps, and many of my priests and religious went to the other camps, distributed them to begin the Ash Wednesday with our faithful who are there, because we are the voice of the voiceless. We have to talk for the defenseless. We have to talk about the weak and those who cannot talk about themselves. In one of the camps called the Mega Camp, there were over 3,000 inmates of that camp, and which was a record given to us by government. I speak on behalf of them and those children who have no husband, who have no father, and even their own voice is taken away by the politicians who promise to help them, but have become the willing tools of the jihadists because they are talking politically correct statements. looking for next elections to come. I speak on behalf of those whose loved ones have been killed, but no one has even offered a word of consolation to them. I speak on behalf of the thousands of young girls who have been adopted and raped because no one, not even the media, mentions them anymore. Foremost, I speak on behalf of my flock who are unable to worship freely and unable to return to their ancestral farms and homes because that land has been ruthlessly taken from them by the armed herdsmen. And where they say they want to live in peace with the natives, if you must farm, you have to pay tax to hire the land which belongs to you. That is slavery, to say the least about it. As prosperous Nigeria is in the African continent, and I tell you, if there's outbreak of war in Nigeria, no country around us, Chad, Niger, Ghana, Guinea, Togo, no country can contain the population that will flee to these places. No country can be able to house over 5 million refugees. It's not possible because of that. And if 1 million refugees run to Chad and Niger, they'll collapse that country because there'll be no plan to take care of them. So we have to be very careful. Today, I urge you all to use every means within your mandate to start developing a strong and good relationship with Nigeria, where you know that when you speak of human dignity, you are also speaking of the same God-given right you believe is unalienable. Consider that Nigeria can be your ally, but it cannot be one where half the population is in the process of being murderously eliminated. Work with us, the churches, and other Nigerians of goodwill. We are working for a peaceful and prosperous society, and our desperate plight has been set aside U.S. foreign policy for too long, to the cost of thousands of lives. Concretely, I request and I plead, I ask you to redesignate Nigeria as a country of particular concern. This has both a practical and diplomatic meaning to signal that you are paying attention to what happens to us and elsewhere in the world, because the policies the government is trying to put in place so that to return the IDPs, build camps for them, relocate them from their homes. It is not durable and it will not work, because the government has already the population that is not able to take care of. And then you have over millions of people in the camps and you want to relocate them to where? And if you do, let's take that you do. How many houses or rooms will you give me who has 5 children, another one has 3, another one has 2? And what will I be doing for a living? These people previously never begged anybody for food. They were managing their lives, training their children, and building their homes. So nobody should have deceived us on the guys that you're going to resettle the IDPs. They have no jobs. So where you say them, what will be their place? And by the way, the fundamental question remains, if you resettle them to other camps or build places for them, what happens to the ancestral lands? Who takes care of them? And this is whereby I feel the government is complacent on this issue. Because these terrorists, Fulanis, displace and kill people and then occupy the place and then change names, nomenclatures of these towns. For what reason? So we want to let the people go back to their homes and help for them to rebuild their lives. I implore this august body to insist on the return and rehabilitation of all the IDPs to their ancestral lands and not to relocate them to other constructed camps elsewhere, which is an invented solution now being pushed in the Benue state government. And I tell you, Nigeria government can do that once they have to be accountable. Because I know Nigeria, under the auspices of ECOMOG, was able to reinstate constitutional government in Sierra Leone and Liberia. And they can do that now. We have the capacity, because the leaders that are not prepared. And I think that's whereby, look, it's not just, conspiracy of silence. It is aiding, abetting, and supporting these terrorists to keep doing their work. This is my plea. Thank you very much for this attention.
I can tell you with certainty that the world is not paying enough attention to the growing humanitarian disaster in Nigeria. Despite its strategic importance as Africa's most populous country, these warning lights are flashing because of this systematic religious persecution driven primarily by Islamists, and it's going unaddressed. Christians are the primary targets. They're murdered, kidnapped, raped, and terrorized on almost a daily basis, as has already been discussed. The numbers are staggering, the brutality is unspeakable, and the silence from global leaders is deafening. The U.S. government must act, and they must act now. Nigeria must be redesignated a country of particular concern. Biden administration's removal of this designation was a reckless mistake that emboldened the very terrorists who are slaughtering Christians. The U.S. should apply targeted sanctions against Nigerian officials who are complicit in religious persecution, as well as suspend certain trade benefits until concrete actions are taken to protect all Nigerians.
All right. Do we still need to talk more? Very well. Do well to drop your comment on the comment section what you think. All right. I'll see you in my next video. Thank you very much, and may God continue to bless you.